What up, Dokkanners? You might want to know what are some of the best teams out there to run with the TEQ Metacooler army. That is what this video is all about. I'm going to be covering a couple of teams that work with this character as the primary lead. We will be showing a couple of teams with this character on another team's leader skill, and we'll also be showing a couple of teams at the end of the video with the no new units setup. Now, when it comes to best teams, it is subjective, it is opinion based, so there could be a lot of different builds out there besides the one that I show in this video. So if you disagree with some of my builds and you find that there's another team build that I didn't mention or you might think works better, comment down below or just check down below in the comments for other people's builds, because you never know, you could be stumbling upon something that could work for you. In general, I try to keep things as broad as possible so that I don't have to weigh the video down with hours of specific conditions. So I'm going to be, trying to be as general as I can, covering all bases. I will say it's not easy assembling a team around this guy. When it comes to best teams for Metal Cooler, you need to bring out the most out of the character's kit. That's what makes it the best team for Metal Cooler. The problem is you are severely hamstrung in terms of who you can bring if you are trying to get the most out of it. So quickly to summarize what he does, he needs movie bosses or wicked bloodlines to function properly. He gets more damage reduction, he gets more combo power, he gets more dodge, he gets more crit, he gets more damage reduction further and stats with wicked bloodline or movie bosses. Then on top of that, his super attack provides multi-turn defense buffs for extreme characters only, while only raising attack on his supers temporarily. Meaning he is not raising defense, so combining the damage reduction with any defense building is strictly going to be from this, which isn't a whole lot. And I think that's going to lead to some issues for people, because generally speaking, when you factor in a unit with damage reduction, you sort of also assume their super attack might bolster their defense. That's not the case here. You're only getting defense from just his basic passive and from the support part of the super attack. The other cool thing about the character, and this is actually pretty neat, is that depending on the orb that you pick up, he gets a different effect. Now, what's cool about this is that even at 55% versus 100%, this character is providing the same effect regardless when it comes to these orbs. So in terms of value lost, or in terms of the value deficit between 55% and 100%, in terms of the support side or the orb pickup, it's not as insane. Maybe for this one it would be. But in general, like, you can support extreme class allies, you've got surviving KO, that one's pretty good. You've got 10% heal, you've got nerfing and sealing, you've got combo, you've got dodge, you've got heals when you do damage or leech damage, whatever. So it's actually pretty cool in terms of how this guy can work. But again, the problem boils down to movie bosses and wicked bloodline. Wicked bloodline specifically is garbage. That category is beyond terrible right now. Over the course of this celebration and maybe part 2, that could change. There could be an easy A or super easy A coming up for like physical final form cooler. There could be a super easy A for AGL Dokkan Festival Metal Cooler. I don't know. And as of me recording this, I can't really account for that. And even if there were, I don't know if that's enough to transcend the wicked bloodline category. So for most of this video, you are going to be seeing primarily movie bosses, and it depends on how much you want to do. You have to either go 3 movie bosses to give him this part of the passive, or 5 movie bosses to give him this part of the passive. If you choose to forego either, it makes it easier in terms of team building, but then you run at great risk because he loses all of his stats and all of his damage reduction and all of his combos, and you're really just running him for this. And if you're going to do that, you might want to focus on a dodge build, which we'll talk more about in this showcase video. But that's sort of a gist of what he does. He also provides extra support to coolers and metal coolers, but to me, this isn't that much. So that being said, it's going to be quite tricky putting together some teams for this guy, but we're going to do our best. Big shout out to Dokkan Database and Dokkan Stats. We're going to be using Dokkan Stats for the team building user interface. This is a really useful tool that I now use for all my best teams video. And for Dokkan Database, we're not only using the overall character info, but there's this really cool feature called lead buffs. If you click on this button, it will show you all characters that apply to the leader skill in different ways. Maybe you don't feel like checking the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different leader skill combinations. Instead, this will do the job for you. All you have to do is simply just open them up and you will see all the characters that apply here. This is a very useful resource that I also use now. Instead of having to filter it myself in game, I'll just check and see, do my characters fit in here? Oh, great. Okay, I got STR Perfect Cell. Sure, I'll throw them onto the team. So this is also a really cool way to gauge which characters would fit with the unit. And then I've also got, and then the other cool thing about Dokkan Database is that you can check the 200% plus leaders. Not only do you see which characters that the unit fits under in terms of leader skill, but you can see how much. So in this case, I am going to be showing teams with Metal Cooler as the lead, Deborah as the lead, Baby Vegeta as the lead, and I think probably Goma and Lord Slug, because those two are at a lower level. These guys are the only ones at 250, 220 for Metal Cooler. All right, enough dilly-dallying. Let's start by putting together the first team so I can show you guys how this works. So you simply click on it and you will put your main lead, you'll click on it, put your friend lead, and then we're just going to assemble the rest of the team, and then we will rearrange everybody as we need to afterwards. So I am putting in all of my movie bosses. Where is my goat, Goma? Oh yeah, speaking of, I will tell you this. You're going to be seeing a lot of Goma, and you're going to be seeing a lot of LR Golden Frieza. Golden Frieza and Goma. Two characters that are just... Where the hell is he? Okay. Two characters that are going to be in a lot of these team builds because of the reasons you'll see. This is annoying. Okay. I have like facial blindness when it comes to Dokkan characters. I will zoom past them all the time, and it'll take me like 15 years to actually realize what I missed. Okay, so here is our first team. Let me actually move this over, and let's put this up on screen. There we go. Here is our first team. One of the better teams for Meta Cooler. So here, with this guy as our main lead, we are able to run 2 copies, and we have a full set of movie bosses, nearly a full set of movie bosses, and demonic power. So the premise here is simple. We are going to have Metal Cooler on slot 2 with an accompanying tank in slot 1. And what I like about this arrangement is that not only do you have defense boosting from these 2 characters rotating over multiple turns, but you can amplify that even further with Goma. Goma's defense boosting multi-turn super can also further make the effects of this guy's defense boost more effective or better, which will help all characters across the board. This guy being your slot 1, he can tank, he can dodge most of the stuff. This guy can be your slot 2. He does have 90% damage reduction, to be fair, on the first turn, given his passive. If it's fully rendered, 50% damage reduction from having 5 movie bosses, 20% for 1 turn, 20% permanently. So he would have 70% damage reduction in general, but I also wouldn't want this guy to necessarily be someone who has to eat all the attacks, maybe get stunned or sealed, but it just depends on the situation. So you can switch them around if you want. I've got the Golden Frieza up here because not only does he provide extra stat buffs for everybody when he supers, he's also got early turn tanking capabilities. And then of course, when the situation calls for it, you can move him into slot 3 and have him use his attack redirection, which is always useful, especially on teams where the Metal Cooler has even less of his passive. Maybe you don't want to run 5 movie bosses or 5 Wicked Bloodlines because that's too restrictive. You run them at 3. So instead of getting your full 500% stats, you're only getting like 300. And by doing so, this guy is weaker. Even with his 70% damage reduction, you might not feel too comfortable. This guy's attack redirection will help with that. On top of that, I've got the demonic power set up here so that we have this guy's domain activating. When Lord Slug activates his domain, he is more effective. He can also provide scouting after receiving attacks. He can also get some heals. The domain increases damage output. So overall, this is a pretty well synergized team. And then also, with all the defense buffing that you're getting here, I actually think Int Fatboo sort of gets a bit of a resurgence. He is a defensive stacker. He has a revive should the worst happen and someone's about to get killed. This guy could take that L, and then when he revives, he's got the ability to stun for a turn. This guy, after this guy loses some of his guard, he could ultimately be a better slot 1 unit. And he also fits that demonic power here. So as far as movie bosses go, the unit itself counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As far as demonic power, he needs 3 other demonic powers. So there's 1, 2, 3. So this is actually a pretty nice setup. I'm very proud of this one that I put together, and I'll probably be using a version of this team in the showcase when I'm first testing out the character. As far as alternates go, I think the core engine of the team requires at least these guys, in my opinion. This is a free-to-play Battlefield Big Bad Boss Demonic Power LR who does fit a lot of the checks that we need. But if you don't have him, he can also be removed. You just have to make sure, how much do you care about this guy's passive? If you want this guy to not weigh down the team in terms of bringing movie bosses, you could always have this unit become a slot 3 unit, and then you can alternate your setup and your approach and do something else, right? In the slot 3, he's less likely to get you killed, especially if you manage to pick up int orbs. You maybe give him a max dodge build, or you pick up AGL orbs and you give him extra dodge. With the AGL orb, however much you lose here, you can sort of offset it with this. So let's just say you lose 3 characters. So you're only bringing in, actually no, you lose 2 characters. So your dodge chance is actually 30% as opposed to 50. You pick up an AGL key sphere, boom, it goes back up to 55. So it just depends on how you want to build the team, but some nice alternates, I think. Physical Omega Shenron, even with him fitting only with the 170% lead, I think he would be a great asset for the team. Team support, good setup, another domain to work with instead of the Lord Slug. Just got to be careful with him, but with the rotating defense, I think he's going to be a lot more tanky than people expect. King Cold, obviously the new summonable character. If you've got the unit, that's obviously going to be a good one. He does require, I think he gets extra stuff when he's fighting an Earthbred fighter or a Hybrid Saiyan, which, by the way, is kind of funny because all Hybrid Saiyans are Earthbred fighters, but I don't know why they'd have to specify. But sure. Who else do we have here? Oh, Bojack, free-to-play World Tournament Bojack. A couple of free-to-play units are getting some nice not upgrades, but more relevancy from this release. This guy's a movie boss. This guy has guard. This guy has nice stats overall for a free-to-play World Tournament character. So with the extra defense, he becomes more tanky and a nice big bad boss floater in the slot 3. And then, I mean, anybody else that I showed here. TEQ Buhan. I put TEQ Buhan on the team instead of the Fat Boo at first because I thought that this would actually be a pretty cool way to utilize his domain. Because you start off, you open with the downtown LA, domain thing, right? And then after that wears off after a couple of turns, this guy's domain can proc a few turns later straight up without the power absorption thing. And then he can do his thing in the slot 1 by raising his defense, picking up a bunch of orbs. Depending on how many orbs he picks up, that could remove the tech orbs from the equation. And by doing so, there might be more AGL, int, or STR or physical key spheres left over. You do kind of have to pay attention to the orb setup, depending on how you want to utilize the character. So this guy could help in terms of how you manipulate the field and what you give him. And he still has the big bad boss connection. And then once his 7 turns go by, he gets extra dodge. He can go back to being a floater. There are some nice ways to use this character. I threw in Turles mainly just because you might be able to get away with using him with this team, with Goma providing defense, with double metal coolers providing defense, and maybe he picks up an STR orb. This guy with his damage reduction, however limited nowadays, could actually become a little bit more effective. Plus he gives 50% support. So he actually might be a couple of these guys just getting that resurgence, which I like to see. Oh yeah, whenever he's not banned, I think he would be a great addition. Whenever you're on a rotation with another corroded body and mind character, this guy gets more stats. When facing a pure Saiyans or hybrid Saiyans enemy, this guy gets more abilities. These two together would make a nice 1-2 punch. Neither one of them is a slot 1, but if they're in a slot 2 or 3 type situation, that would also work. So I think this overall is probably the best way that we can use this character as our main lead right now. Over time, that will change. As Wicked Bloodline gets better, that will probably become a more viable option. But until then, this is the best team for Metacooler. Oh boy. I wouldn't consider this a best team, but some people might be curious. As of right now, as of May 2026, May 28, 2026, Wicked Bloodline, running a team with Wicked Bloodline that fits this guy's leader skill is not going to be fun. The best options we've got are basically this. You have to have a slot 1, someone who can fit the slot 1, slot 2 alongside the Metal Cooler, but you butcher the synergy in terms of links. But it would have to be the Golden Friezas. This guy gets squishier over time, so at that point there would have to be somebody else potentially to fill in the slot. You could also throw in someone like the full power Frieza from Namek. He actually might not be bad with the extra defense that these guys are going to be sharing over multiple turns. He could actually be a better slot 1, plus he shares the big bad boss connection. And if you do that, maybe you can throw him off the team. Physical King Cold is here. You don't need to have these two be Wicked Bloodline. You only need 5 characters at most, and these units can be included. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other 2 can be whatever you want. So as far as that other team goes, I mean, whatever else fits the leader scale, for the sake of just filling out the team, I threw in like Perfect Cell. Perfect Cell has a revive to make his his passive more effective. I also threw in another tournament participant. Oops. I was looking at the wrong one. My bad. There you go. The other guy's not power absorption. This guy's power absorption. So I don't know. This is the best I got. These two can be whatever you want. If you got Goma, you could throw Goma back on the team. Like I said, Goma will fix a lot of these issues because with the extra defense, he will just give you more. So now Frieza's defensive woes early become less of an issue. If you've got something like this, you can do attack redirection to give Frieza a little bit more time to build up his stats, and suddenly this works better. Any of the Metal Cooler free-to-play characters could work. I gotta say, Like if we were to run a full metal cooler team, synergy wise, great, but you're not gonna win. Like I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do a video running this team with the free-to-play meta cooler, but I seriously doubt you're gonna see anything promising with this arrangement. Let me actually, yeah, it'd have to be something like this. Make no mistake, the synergy's great, but they suck. And this unit doesn't give them enough to make them worth running, but we'll try it. So have fun, go nuts with this. LR physical metal cooler, I'm banking on that dude's EZA. If this guy gets an EZA, that will massively change how this team will look. But still, in essence, Wicked Bloodline is not there yet. It needs more work. So I wouldn't run this if I were you. Now we are looking at the unit on other teams, and so we're going to be checking out Deborah, and we're going to be checking out the baby. These are the only two characters that give him that extra 250, 220 leader skill, and it's not looking great. With only a 3 movie boss or 3 Wicked Bloodline arrangement, we are getting the initial part of his passive, which is good, but we are going to be lacking on 200% stats, 200% or 20% crit, 20% dodge, 20% damage reduction. But if he's in slot 3, that's going to be less of an issue. Also, with this arrangement, we do have 3 different versions of attack redirection. So while the synergy looks pretty lacking, this does kind of logically work because you can keep all of the focus on the other characters and let this guy do what he needs to do in the slot 3, which is support. And that's ultimately what he's going to be off his main optimal teams. Here, we're kind of just going back to the Majin Buu saga setup from a couple of videos ago. We've got Majin Vegeta with some great slot 1 functionality now that this is a full extreme team. So this guy will shield the TEQ Deborah quite well. 3 attack redirections, like I said, good support with this unit. How much else can be said? What orb would you want to pick up with the TEQ metal cooler at that point? Probably the STR one. I would say either the STR or the int. No, yeah, or the AGL. AGL, int, or STR would probably be the way to go for this unit in the slot 3 when supporting these guys. And that's pretty much it. There's really not much else to it. God, only Fierce Battle. These two work well. It's just so weird seeing the Majin Buu saga butchered like this because of this guy's annoying restriction. As far as alternates, once again, we've got Goma. Goma will help take care of a lot of the issues defensively, especially since he's losing some stats. Goma can give you that. Plus, actually, Goma links sort of well with Deborah. Gets 35% attack here. But multi-turn defense, this guy's only going to show up once every 3 turns, or maybe you want to keep him around and you can have this guy beat the slot 3. Whatever you want to do, Goma will help shore up the team. Any other corroded body and mind character like Yakon would work. Believe it or not, even this guy could work. Vegito does fit on the full Deborah leader skill, giving you 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to redirect the attack, taking away from the metal cooler. Probably not the most ideal team, but it is an option, as you see in my little alternates page there. Oh yeah, Manga Frieza. Manga Frieza actually kind of works here because you've got a Goku named character on the team. So you could do something like this where you've got Goku Vegeta, take this guy out, you throw in Manga Vegeta. I know only like 5 of you guys have this character, but then this guy actually gets a lot of mileage on this team. Not necessarily in terms of synergy. How well do these guys link up? Okay, they link up pretty well. Yeah. It's hard to pitch this team as a good one without more strands here. I need more threads. This ain't enough. This is not looking messy. I like it when it looks messy. You know what I'm saying? To me, this is a better fit for Metal Cooler on a team that's not himself as a leader, and that is the Baby Vegeta. Baby Vegeta requires all extreme allies and corroded body and mind allies for maximum stats, maximum abilities. You lose a little bit of that with Omega Shenron being on the team, but I think Omega Shenron offsets that loss with nice domain presence, extra support, and he can also act as a slot 1 if necessary for this guy. And once again, we've got our obligatory 3 movie boss restriction over here to get the minimum part of his passive. If you want to go further, you're just going to change the perspective of the team. It's just not going to look like this. You would have to remove Omega Shenron, you would have to remove Rose, and then you're left with a husk of what this team actually even needs to be. So at this point, he's going to be a slot 3. Might as well bring some corroded body and mind characters that are movie bosses. Janemba works well in the slot 3 here. This guy is a big bad boss. You could actually put him in the slot 1 or slot 2. Obviously, these two won't synergize, but these guys will. And this guy can be a floater if you want. So there is some flexibility with this arrangement, especially when this guy transforms. He has dodge and he's going to be stacking. Over time, he might become a more reliable slot 1 where you can float this guy off. And if you want, maybe throw this guy in here with this guy being your slot 1. This guy might actually be able to do some work. Multi-turn support with him. Stacking with this guy. He gets more tanky in the slot 1 because of this guy. Also him. So I kind of like how you can run this team. This is probably the second best team to run outside of the first team that you saw at the beginning. This one right here, I would say that this is the next best thing. As far as alternates go, guess who's back? That's right, Goma's back. Your best friend in the world, Goma. Give everybody more defense, make everybody tankier. Good move. Any corroded body and mind character, Yakon if you have that unit. TEQ Deborah, I am pushing a lot of TEQ Deborah type stuff here. I am hoping that TEQ Deborah returns, but if he doesn't return, well, you know, whatever. This is the best I got. But Yakon is great. He's got guaranteed dodge functionality in the slot 1 once. Otherwise, he can be a good slot 3 support. Not so much in terms of links. TEQ Vegeta, with the extra defense that everybody is getting, I actually think people need to remember that this guy can help because he is a slot 1 tank with guard, damage reduction. Not the greatest anymore, but if he's a dodge build with the extra defense, who knows? He could save your life in certain situations. God, no links? Oh my God. Does anybody link with him? Oh, what the hell? Whatever. He's an underappreciated tank. I still love you. Believe it or not, Spirit Bomb Z would fill the role as a slot 1. He'll just keep on stacking. He doesn't need any links. He doesn't need nothing. He can just chill in slot 1 and be that defender, and then you can move everybody else into different spots. His defensive support in his super attack won't help him, but it doesn't matter because he's an invincible unit in and of himself. So who cares? TEQ Deborah also fits on this team, but yeah, more flexibility, more options. That's the power of corroded body and mind. And now we reach the end portion of the video. No new units. When it comes to no new units, my rule for no new units is that as long as the character is purchasable with coins, they are usable. If they are not, meaning they have not yet returned to be purchasable with coins, they are considered too new. Now, I am going to first start by showing a new units version of my no units team, which sounds weird. And that involves the TEQ Deborah. TEQ Deborah has not yet officially returned. He could have returned on this banner's release. I am recording this before the banner comes out, so I don't know. But this is pretty much the only new character that you could fit on this team to make it still work. So the idea is that Goma leads Terrifying Conquerors at 200%. This guy leads Terrifying Conquerors at 200%, or 170, 150, whatever. You know what I mean? He leads Terrifying Conquerors, but he also leads movie bosses, artificial life forms, and target Goku. So that still works with Goma as the lead, as long as everybody here is a Terrifying Conqueror. Once again, we have to adhere to this guy's passive. We need at least 3 movie bosses, okay? So that will be 1, 2, 3. Those are 3. Now, I brought Lord Slug. I need a couple of demonic powers. Goma is the one, other than himself. So Goma 1, Garlic Jr. 2. That's where Deborah comes in 3. If you don't care about the demonic power portion of this setup, you can always remove this guy. And then, of course, we're trying to do no new units, so this guy also wouldn't be there. You could just throw in another movie boss. You need at least 5 to fully get the passive, but you've got your 3 here. You get another one. Yeah, so let's just throw in anybody else. What would be another good movie boss? Movie boss, Terrifying Conqueror. Problem is, there's not too many. There are not too many good movie boss, Terrifying Conquerors. So let's actually do that ourselves. Movie boss, Terrifying Conqueror. Okay, watch this. Oh, right. You're supposed to do all. There we go. These are all the movie boss Terrifying Conqueror characters. Man, I hope this guy gets an easy A. He would fit. We are foregoing the Lord Slug thing, right? So throw in somebody else. I don't know, Turles? You. There you go. There is your Terrifying Conquerors movie boss team with Metal Cooler. Not much else can really be said about this because you don't have too many options. And then the other team, I'm not even going to cut here. I'm just going to show it. It's sort of a variation of the team that we've already got. And that is a Lord Slug version of the team, because Lord Slug and Goma are honestly the 2 best options for running a team to have Cooler run as the friend lead. Terrifying Conquerors, he actually has the flipped version of this guy's leader skill. He leads Terrifying Conquerors with a sub lead for Movie Boss. This guy leads Movie Boss with a sub lead for Terrifying Conquerors. So once again, we got to get the demonic power restriction out of the way, and we've got to get the movie boss restriction out of the way. Why does Goma never show up? How is Goma not at the top? That's so weird. This one is actually also unfortunate because we got to bring in someone like this. We got to bring in Demon King Piccolo for this. But you know, it is what it is. We're on a crunch here when it comes to extreme characters. They need to do, I don't know, just a year of full villain releases. I don't know if the game could handle that. But pretty straightforward here. Goma dictates the playing field with extra defense. Great link buddy with the Garlic Jr. And again, you've seen this formation on pretty much like every other setup. Golden Frieza defends, or you could even have this guy defend early and have him build up his stuff, because you're going to open with a domain. So he'll get the ball rolling. He'll give you some regen, some scouting after a little while. And then this guy can take over. He's got attack redirection. This guy is a bit of a flight risk until he transforms, but when he does, he will be better. He's a good slot 3 dodging guard support sort of thing. Once again, this free-to-play World Tournament Bojack, an excellent piece to fit on any team. Probably, like I said, the most important pieces to run alongside the Metal Cooler are going to be the Golden Frieza and the Goma. But honestly, I think I would also say this physical World Tournament Bojack is another great unit to just have. That's if you care about running the optimal best versions of a Metal Cooler team. These 4, I think, just have to be on the same team for the most part. For right now, anyway. And that is my best teams breakdown for TEQ Metal Cooler. Hopefully you guys learned something. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on the Metal Cooler teams. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Did you even summon? If so, did you get the character? How do you plan to use the character moving forward until he returns? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content of the feature and click the notification bell so that you let you know you want to see more stuff to it. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.